Good morning. Welcome to Gimpy's History Corner. I'm called Gimpy by my two grandsons. Here they are, being read to by their great-grandmother, Granny Gerald's, 99 years old and going strong. The boys love their granny, that's for sure. Okay, this is video number 106, The History of Globalization. This came from previous videos I did on the decline of labor unions in America. One of the reasons that the labor unions decreased was the economy became global. And this is the history of that globalization. Okay, the first signs of globalization were back in the pre-1500s with the Silk Road from China. 1st century BC to 5th century AD connected China, India, Persia, and Rome for silk, spices, and ideas. Good old Marco Polo, that story. Then you had the Indian Ocean Trade Network that linked East Africa, the Middle East, South Asia, and Southeast Asia. And then the Muslims, the Islamic Golden Age, were really good at cultural and scientific exchanges, and that flourished across the Islamic world and beyond, which was Northern Africa, Southern Europe, Middle East. Proto-globalization is the next stage, 1600 to 1800, the rise of the European colonial empires when ocean sailing ships were invented. The Spanish, Portuguese, Dutch, British, and French all had colonies around the world. And they also had pirates who raided each other's global trade. And then you learn back in social studies class about the triangular trade, transatlantic slave trade, from Europe to Africa to pick up slaves, take to the Caribbean and North America where they pick up sugar cane and bring it up to America to make into rum and bring the slaves with them. And then take tobacco or cotton, something like that, back to Europe. And that's been a pattern throughout history. Pick up something here, take it there, drop it off, pick up something else. It's like trucking companies or shipping companies, these big container ships, you know. Early multinational corporations started with the Dutch East India Company in Holland, and the British East India Company. It's where a group of investors go together, put together a company, get permission from the crown to go do things around the world. All right, globalization 1.0, 1492 to 1800. This term was invented by Thomas Friedman, who we've talked about before. Began with European exploration and colonization, driven by imperial conquest, mercantilism, and the spread of Christianity. Remember the Spanish when they came and conquered the Aztecs and Mayas. They brought those Franciscan friars with them and started churches. And archaeologists have found that the American Indians here, even before the Europeans came, they dig up graves from southern Ohio or western Illinois, and those graves have products from all over the country. East Coast, West Coast, Great Lakes, Gulf of Mexico. So even before the Europeans, what we now call the American Indians traded with each other. It seems to be a natural human thing. Globalization 2.0 from 1800 to 2000. fueled by the Industrial Revolution with steamships, railroads, and telegraph. Now, as humans progress and get smarter, they learn to do things, and they try steamships instead of sailing ships, railroads instead of covered wagons, telegraphs instead of the mail. Crazy. The rise of nation states, capitalism, which is this video is all part of the capitalism unit, and global markets. World wars disrupted globalization, but post-World War II institutions like the United Nations, International Monetary Fund, and the World Bank helped rebuild it. Now, I used to have a book about a guy who worked for the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund. And he said in some ways those are kind of scams. They go into these undeveloped countries and offer these great loans to this new leader. And he thinks that's a great idea. And then can't pay the loan back and gets indebted to them. And they say, well, since you can't pay our loan back, you have to allow the United States to build a naval base in your country or an air base. Kind of a trick. It's really a shame. The Cold War created competing global blocs, the communists versus the capitalists, but spurred technological and economic integration. Globalization 3.0 was 2000 to the present, marked by digital connectivity, the internet, global supply chains. That's when these huge container ships, surely you've seen those. Those are unbelievable. That's how things are shipped all over the world now. And they get bigger and bigger. And they need deeper ports to dock in to unload because they're so heavy. I think I'm going to do a video on container ships. Rise of multinational tech giants and e-commerce like Amazon, Alibaba. They noted that Alibaba chose the birthplace of the Silk Road as their main headquarters site. Symbolically, Alibaba is the Amazon of China. Increased interdependence of finance, communication, and culture. Challenges include economic inequality, where the rich get richer, the poor get poorer, climate change, pandemics, and geopolitical tension. Tariffs are part of the tension, unfortunately. And free trade agreements are a huge part of globalization. NAFTA, there was one before that, GAP or something like that. I'm going to go do a video on free trade agreements, tariffs. That's a major part of what's caused the decline of unions was NAFTA. Made it easier for countries to leave the United States and go to countries that don't have unions. That was in 1994. So I'm going to investigate and see if I can find any evidence that part of that was to decrease the power of unions, because unions declined drastically after the NAFTA agreement. Trump came in and tried to renegotiate NAFTA. I'm not sure how that went. He's kind of the opposite of NAFTA. Instead of free trade, he wants to put tariffs on everything. And then countries get mad and they put tariffs on our stuff. And he has stopped the sending of foreign aid to countries that need help. We're not going to do that anymore. That's corrupt, he says. I don't know. Maybe it is. But I know our farmers depend on that. So I don't know what's going to happen to all that corn and soybean and hay and wheat. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Farmers aren't doing too well right now. It's all part of all part of economics and to trade world. Okay, so globalization has been around since man learned to sail the oceans, and it picked up after World War II in the 90s with NAFTA. Of course, the world wars interrupted it, but now we have global trade with these big container ships, tech giants all over the world. I don't know. It's a world that the people in the 1400s had never even dreamed of, but it all got started back in those days with colonialization and exploration. As soon as we learned to sail the oceans, the whole world became open to our commerce. Okay, next we will investigate the history of automation, which also hurt the unions. Okay, Buckeyes won yesterday. They beat the Boilermakers. I'm surrounded by Boilermakers here in Indiana, so they're not happy with me, but that's okay. Got to root for my Buckeyes. Have a great day.